So today is going to be just a simple, playful breath practice. You can sit on a bolster if you'd like to on the ground. You can sit in a chair, sofa, bench, wherever you feel most comfortable. The best thing to do though is try to get your hips a little bit higher than your ankles. And I like to put a blanket underneath my ankles just to protect. Maybe every once in a while want to switch out your legs, just so we don't get into a habit of crossing the legs just one way. So go ahead and let yourself settle into something very comfortable. And sometimes when you're starting a breath practice, I'm not going to call this a pranayama practice, I'm going to call it a breath practice. Sometimes just listening the first time to see how it progresses, and then coming back and playing it again. But if you'd like to just join in, please do. If you find yourself getting it all a little tense because you're trying to do this practice and listen at the same time, just stop, relax, let go of it completely, and then join in if you feel comfortable. So again, we're just going to start in a very easy, relaxed position, hips a little bit higher than the ankles, looking for the back to be comfortably straight. So we don't want to be necessarily arching the back anyway, but we definitely don't want to be slumped over. Just looking for a nice neutral spine so that the cavity of the rib cage sits right above the pelvic bowl. So we're neither forward nor back. Okay. And your hands can rest right on your knees if you'd like to begin there. At any time you can close your eyes and just listen and follow. And again, anytime you feel as though this is just getting a little bit much, just stop, back up, or stop completely. So, first thing we're going to do is take a few moments just to figure out what our own breath is. Everybody's different. And every time you sit down to your breath practice, you may find that your natural breath starts off differently. So we take a few moments to find out what is first. So letting yourself just sit down, again, let your eyes close if you'd like to, and taking a few natural breaths. No counting, just breathe. A few natural breaths. Making sure the jaw's unlocked, tongue is relaxed. Tip of the tongue just resting behind the front of the teeth. The front teeth, the top teeth. So keeping the breath just as it is, resist the urge to change anything, and start counting. Find out what your natural inhale and your natural exhale is. It may be 2 counts in and 4 counts out. It may be 1 count in and 1 count out. It might be 3 counts in and 2 counts out. Just noticing what it is first. So we'll take a few of those rounds to yourself. Again, resist the urge to change anything. See if you can just sit with what is. So if you're finding that the inhalation is a little bit longer than the exhale, you want to increase the exhalation to the same length. We're looking for what's referred to as a Samana breath, meaning the inhale and the exhale are the same length. We're not adding any pauses, just a nice smooth, I like to think of the infinity sign, just nice and smooth, just going and coming. So if you're a 5 breath in and a 3 breath out, maybe bring yourself into a 5 and a 3, then a next breath or 2 will be 5 and a 4, until you're 5 and 5. If at any time that begins to disturb you, back up a little bit, start over. If you find yourself just the opposite, and your exhalation is longer, we're going to invite the inhale to be about the same length as the exhale. Until both inhale and exhale are the same length, the balanced breath. That's all we're looking for. Taking your time, not to rush. Again, I invite you to close your eyes if you'd like to. Just feel your way through this. And then we'll begin to have a little bit of playfulness once we get to that Samana breath. Inhale and out. Exhale the same. And then just letting your hands kind of float up and down as you breathe. So a lot of times we want to float the hands up when we breathe. I'm going to invite you to do just the opposite. We're going to take a few moments to follow the diaphragm. The diaphragm moves up and down the body. So as you breathe in, that diaphragm is dropping down. As you exhale, it's rising up. And we're just going to take a few moments with that Samana breath to use our hands. Because sometimes when we start to link the body to the breathing, we really have a better idea of how we're breathing. So as you begin, letting yourself breathe in. I'm using mine, Samana breath, you use yours. And as you exhale, letting it rise up. Just following that inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And just keep going at your own pace. We'll do 2 more rounds. And then what we'll do is breathe out the right ribs. So it's as though the breath is just coming in through the right side. Feeling the ribs expand on the inhale, contract on the exhale. So letting yourself breathe in. I like to use my hand here too, but you don't have to. So just breathing in. So you can just expand into the right ribs. Exhale, just feeling those right ribs contract. Do 3 breaths, Samana breath. And then we'll switch sides for that next inhalation. 3 breaths again. After that 3rd breath, we'll just meet in just a comfortable Samana breath. And taking just a few. Hands resting on your knees or in your lap. You want at this point also to begin to notice your state of mind as you bring yourself to this Samana breath. And it may feel right now lots of different things. Some people feel as though they need to take a bigger breath. Some people feel, oh, I'm already taking too deep a breath. And just letting yourself feel what that's like. Where do you want to go from here? So the next body breath that we'll be doing is imagine as you breathe in through the nose, you can send that breath down the back of your neck, down the spine. And as you exhale, it's going to kind of tuck around the bottom of your tailbone and exhaling right up the front of the body and out the nostrils. Coming in and down the back of the neck, down the spine through that back waist, around the tailbone, and as you exhale, coming up. We'll do 3 breaths like that. Samana. No holds. When you finish that 3rd breath, we'll just meet back in a comfortable Samana breath. Really envision it coming down the back, through that back waist, down through the sacrum, around the tailbone, exhaling, Feeling come up through the over the pubic bone, through the belly, through the ribs, sternum. So here, with this breath, it may be a good time to begin to think about, I'm going to switch my legs, lengthening the exhale just by 1 count. So if your Samana breath is 3 counts in, 3 counts out, or 5 counts in, 5 counts out, we'll extend that exhale just by 1 count. So let's just give it a try. Breathing in. And on the exhalation, adding 1 more count. We'll do that twice. After 2 breaths, on the inhale, we'll add 1. So now we're back to Samana breath, but each side getting 1 count longer. Think of visualizing down the back, around the tailbone, up the front. After that second breath, we'll add 1 more count to the exhale. If at any time that gets to be too much, just back off. Go back to where you were comfortable. Just follow the breath down the spine and up the front. So for instance, I started at 4-4. I'm now at a 4 inhale, 6 exhale. Then, 5 inhale, 6 exhale. And now we'll move to 6. I'm going to move to 6-6. So we're back to a longer Samana breath. Inhale, exhale, the same length, but each inhale and exhale is increased by 2. Next time you find yourself breathing in, down the back, coming all the way down to the tailbone, around, feel that exhalation coming right up the front of the body. At the bottom of that exhale, pause for 1 count. And breathe in. Down the spine, around the tailbone, up the front. At the bottom of that exhale, again, pause for 1 count. And this time as you breathe in, we'll add a pause at the top of the inhale. And just continue on for a few breaths. So we started with our normal breath until we were able to create Samana, added 2 counts to each inhale and exhale, and a pause. Inhale and exhale. Notice sometimes you get distracted and you're suddenly like, oh gosh, I don't know what I counted now. And if that happens, just let it go and pick up your breathing again. You know where you are. doing a practice like this is more to teach us as much about our breath and length of breath as it is to teach us patience. And after this last exhalation that you come to, just let yourself return to whatever's most comfortable. Just a neutral, comfortable breath. Sometimes it feels good to take a deep breath in. That's normal. So this is just a way to create a breath awareness, to create a Samana breath, so the breath is inhale and exhale. It's also nice to do this kind of practice, especially at the end of the day, because it teaches us where our breath is at the end of the day. Often when the breath is longer than the inhale is longer than the exhale, it can sometimes suggest that there's a lot of tension going on. We're really breathing in and the short exhale. And inviting the body to take that longer exhale, engaging the parasympathetic nervous system, the vagus nerve, is also really critical to our health, especially with these times right now. So first, sitting down and noticing what your breath is. And then beginning to count that breath without trying to rush to change anything. To be willing to be with what is and just count. And then from there, we start to slowly increase, exhale or inhale, whatever it needs to be, so we can have a comfortable Samana breath. Inhale and exhale is the same. After a few of those breaths, and we kind of play around with just kind of using the ribs and the front body and the back body and just kind of breathe up and down, so we can establish comfort with that Samana breath, and also realizing we can breathe into different parts of our body. Then we begin to move into that place of going down the spine and start to increase by one count the exhale 2 or 3 times. And then we increase the inhale by one count. And then after 2 or 3 times, increase the exhale again by one count. And then increase the inhale by one count. And then once we've expanded both sides of that breath, the inhale and the exhale by 2, then we add a pause at the bottom of the breath first, exhale, and then incorporate a pause at the top of the inhale. In our pranayama breaths, we want to initiate our changes on an exhale. Okay. Thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy the practice.